So let's start with the first guest today, and that is Yaseen Alam. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. Now, a bit of an introduction about Yaseen. He is studying currently at King's College London, studying, of course, AI, and he is currently looking into starting his internship at TrinityBridge. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
How are you today?
I'm good. How about you?
Good, thank you. Alhamdulillah. It is really hot, so I'm trying not to obviously sweat. But tell me, what got you into studying AI?
So I've always thought about doing computer science.
Right.
And, I've always been thinking software engineering, coding, something a passion that I had from year 9 in secondary. But I actually did computer science for a year in Queen Mary. And I didn't really like it because of there's a lot of ranges of modules that I didn't really enjoy, especially web development. That was something that I thought, maybe I should learn that by myself and not at university. And so then I swapped to King's to studying AI, and I've already been loving it because I'm doing a lot of AI-centered kind of topics already from year 1. So that's been
amazing. Great. So if you can tell the audience, what is AI exactly?
So it's pretty much okay, so how can you... So let's talk about ChatGPT, right?
Right.
It's an app where, it's a large language model that's been trained on data.
Right.
And that data, and whenever you put in something, it will give you something out. And it's pretty much, how good can you make that model to give you the best output you want, right? And really, that's pretty much it. And that's the kind of machine learning side that I'm doing. But AI in general is just, machine learning is pretty much inside of AI. And AI is pretty much the usage of machine learning.
Okay, and how would you say AI is formed, how has it transformed the industries now at the moment from what you're studying at university?
So, I'm learning most of the fundamentals and learning, how does actually, what happens behind the AI, right? What does the brain look like and sort of that. But, we've always been, thinking about ethics as well in our modules, thinking about how does an AI capture the diversity of people, especially one major issue is skin color. Most of the AIs or models that right now available are trained on, people of, different or certain skin colors. And so one of the issues that we've been thinking about is how can you diversify that model? But, from there, we're just trying to find out really what happens behind the thing to make it even better than it is right now. And yeah.
So what is the future of AI looking like now?
I think it'll just be keeping increasing, but the newest thing that's happening right now is AI agents, where it's more like using a model and that will control your computer or a system itself. And that's let's say it'll browse the web for you by doing different steps. Maybe, filling up forms that you don't want to do.
Yeah, I do that all the time.
It'll just do everything for you in a way that it acts like it's you, but it's not really you yourself.
Okay, fine. And do you use AI when doing your university courses? Do you take advantage of those sorts of platforms? Yeah,
I actually do use it every day.
Okay.
It's really helpful in kind of tailoring your kind of studies just for yourself.
Right.
And you can kind of find questions that, maybe really just any kind of question that you want. But obviously you should make sure that the kind of info that's coming out, it's correct. That's a major issue right now, yeah.
So is there anything that they're doing to address that right now? I mean, there's a lot of misinformation. I know someone in the legal industry used a case and they were fined quite heavily with that. So are they doing anything right now?
Yeah, I think it's mostly, think about using more live data and recent data instead of how sometimes the model gets kind of pigeonholed into using older data until you actually specify using newer data. So I think that kind of process is getting the gap between that is being shortened.
Right, of course. Enough about AI. I feel like I've spoken too much about AI, but let's talk about you, of course. So you're in university. What year are you in at the moment?
I'm in first year.
First year, okay. And how are you finding it going from college to university? How's that transformation been?
Yeah, I think it was much easier than A-levels in my opinion.
Yeah.
Mostly because, it's things that you're more passionate about. Yeah. So it's just for me, it was just okay, I like learning this thing.
Yeah.
It's much easier for me to focus on it than, doing things that I might not like. But I think just being able to be doing something that, you've always had a passion for, and then, being able to work on that and go by step is something that I enjoy.
Right. And now that you're in your first year, I know you're starting your internship in 2 weeks, is that right?
Yeah.
How did you find the internship?
So that was through a charity organization called Upreach. They help people who come from a low social mobility background into finding, career opportunities, being able to go to different insight events at different companies.
Right. And how would you, maybe the youth that are listening to the show, of course, how would they reach out to companies or charities like this to
Yeah,
find
so
an
there's quite a
opportunity?
few charities outside of, that help people from different backgrounds.
Right.
The notable ones that I've been part of are called SEO London, there's Upreach, the Brokerage, and then there's also Zero Gravity.
There's quite a few.
Yeah,
Right.
there's quite a few,
Amazing.
yeah. And they have their own application process, and then they also have certain connections to different companies. But yeah, one thing I wish I knew much sooner in my career is actually know the companies themselves. I knew Google and Meta and all those
Yes.
main companies, but I think people should know more about finance in general because there's a lot more than just writing a lot.
Yeah, of course.
There's a lot of maths in there as well that people should think about. Yeah.
Think about it, definitely. And I understand that, with AI changing every year, does that change sort of the curriculum that you're studying at the moment at university? How will that adapt?
So we really focus on the basics right now, so,
Okay.
like the fundamentals of
Right.
AI. So what is the current model that might be there, or like just just the bits that people don't really know about, but it's like it's there and it's always going to be there.
Right.
Even though if those little things or the blocks are changing what the outcome is, then I think it's just improving year by year. Yeah.
Amazing. And now I do know we're joined by your mum and dad in the studio today. So what was their support like when it came to you studying artificial intelligence at university?
I think really, I think they still don't understand what my subject is really, but I think the support they've always given me is just giving me my, they've allowed me to do whatever I wanted to do. A lot of Bengalis, they go into doctorate programs and
Right.
all that, and I've never been interested into that, biology or chemistry or anything like that. So I've been fortunate enough to be able to do something, and have parents who supported me in my way that, like being able to do what I've been passionate about most. So that I've been lucky with that, yeah.
Amazing. And in the future, what do you sort of look at doing?
So right now, if you guys don't really know that, machine learning is used a lot in quantitative finance right now.
Right.
And that's something that I've been really focusing on right now. Having, had a late kind of aspect or information about finance in general. And that's really got me into kind of like, sparked this kind of curiosity within me to start thinking about quantitative finance and how my kind of background and the degree that I'm doing right now can fit into that kind of role. And not just being a traditional software engineering role. Yeah.
Amazing. And now that you're looking into sort of the machinery side of things and of course what AI looks like and what it means for your future, I know the internship will mean quite a lot for that sort of area of what you want to do in the future. So how are you looking to start the internship? What are your plans for the internship?
I think the first thing that I would really want to do is network with
Right.
people. That's the biggest thing. You want to first, gain that relationship with people from different companies, even if it's a small company or a big company. You want to make that relationship.
But why is it important? Because I think a lot of us are introduced to people and we're just like, oh, I don't want to take their number. It's a bit awkward. So how do you make it less awkward and why is it so important?
I think it's really depending on who you pick to network with. I
Right.
think if you have some similar background or passion that you have, then it makes it much easier to like talk to them. Because for me, I found quite a few different people in different companies, and if I didn't really know or have any kind of similar background, it's very hard to keep in contact with them. So being first, I think finding people with the same passions as you is
Definitely.
first step.
And I think with universities as well, now they're opening up programs, events and things like that. Do you take advantage of those sort of events?
So not really universities, but
Yeah.
I think universities do help quite a lot in gaining kind of exposure
Right.
or just finding out about those events. But I think, first of all, I think it's much, I think first there's like different websites that you can go to. There's one called Bristol Tracker. They like advertise different opportunities that come out from different companies. And I never knew about different companies or the names or anything.
Right.
Or like there's also like these kind of rankings as well of different companies, and I had no knowledge of that. But I've taken different spring weeks at different companies such as Goldman Sachs, Millennium Capital Partners,
Amazing.
EY, and Sky, and they've been like really insightful for me to first network with people and find out more about what could be a career for me.
Right. And what is the career looking like right now? How do you see it in the next 20 years?
So I think right now what I really want to do is go into a big company and be able to learn the ins and outs of how they work and how, what are the innovations, because I really want to be in that innovation side. And when I'm right there, I'll be able to know what's been happening in the industry as a whole. And then from there, I'll gain that knowledge and be able to maybe start my own startup.
Inshallah. And if you are looking to start a startup, what is it going to be in? Do you know yet, or are you still thinking?
I know it's definitely going to be in AI, and
Yep.
some or have some aspect of AI.
Amazing.
But I think because it's going to be growing, and there's
Inshallah.
more opportunities coming out,
Yep.
especially if you know about the metaverse and kind of that kind of side of having virtual glasses, and that's something that I could maybe look into as well.
We're going to have to definitely invite you again in the next, I guess, 20 years or 10 years, whenever that is, and then inshallah you can tell us more about that journey. But finally, if you had to advise someone who wants to study artificial intelligence at university, what would you advise them? Give them three, I guess, opinions that you would give them.
I mean, as much as people think AI might not have coding or kind of related topics, I think people should start first thinking about what kind of coding language they like and what kind of types of coding they like. I really like doing the kind of the machine learning kind of side. So I think first they should look into machine learning as a whole. So for advice for that, we'll be starting with Python, and then also having a big interest in mathematics. There's a big kind of
I've definitely failed there. I don't like math. Fair enough.
Mathematics is a big part of AI and in computer science in general.
Right.
So having a very good understanding of maths in general will help you a lot. And then I think that's the main two things.
Right.
But trying to get into AI, I think just using AI or AI bots and just trying to have that curiosity of how do they work and making those questions for yourself will bring that passion.
Amazing. Thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you
I really
so much for
appreciate
having
it.
me.
You're very welcome.